grew up in Tanzania, like from the humble beginning. People always use that word, like grew up with no shoes and then they end up coming into America.
Welcome to another episode of Better Business, Better Life. Today, I am joined by another American. I seem to have quite a few Americans on my podcast, which I love. And today is Edward Mbeche, who is a CEO and founder of the Halen super app. And he actually originally grew up in Africa and then moved to the US when he was 18, 19 years old. And he's got a fascinating story. We've just been hearing about his story before we started this podcast. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Deb.
Oh, it's great to have you. Hey, look, you have got an interesting story because you started in tax, of all things, and then moved into limousines. So tell us a little bit about your story and where you've come from, where you are now.
Do you want to go back like where I grew up or just?
Yeah,
just
no, please. No, let's do that. Let's do the growing up too. That's great.
Okay, yeah. So I grew up in Tanzania in a small village, like, like from the humble beginning. People always use that word, like grew up with no shoes and then they end up coming into America. Kind of weird story, like a whole culture shock. So I went to college and ended up start working. Well, I actually ended up working for a company, the BlackBerry. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Black. Yeah, I used to work for that company. Went out of business. It took me a while to get another job. That's how I end up stumbling into taxi. And I end up start working for the tax company. It's a big tax company in Washington, D.C. As a dispatch manager.
Yes.
From there, I end up getting a second job working for a limousine company. I was driving for them, then doing my dispatch. I go the tax morning. I go early in the morning, like 4:30 in the morning to around 1:30, 2 p.m. And then I go drive for the limousine. So it was fun. and from there, actually, I end up learning a lot of the stuff in the industry, how tax company works and also how limousines. And I end up starting my own limousine company. It was called DC Private Cars. Yeah.
Okay. And that you said to me in the podcast also before we started talking that actually got sort of almost destroyed by the Uber app. Is that right?
Yes. So the DC Private Car was it was good. I had it running for almost 15 years before Uber came in. And Uber came in. It was one of those, like old school mentality we had. I was like, nobody's going to order a limousine company using an app,
Yes.
like little we knew. So, but I realized when I start losing business, like my core customer, where I will lose them, where they will call me like, hey, pick me up at the airport. And I'm like, who took you to the airport? Because I'm normally the one who take them to the airport. So I start losing those, lost few other accounts, like really good accounts. And then I realized like, hey, I need to get out of this. So I end up selling the company, got out of I got lucky, I sold it and got out of it. And it took me about maybe 2 years, not 2 months, 2 years and a half, 2 years and a half trying to figure what I wanted to do. And from there, I ended up developing a rideshare app. I wanted to design exactly the same thing what Uber was doing, but the little knowledge I had of technology, I ended up hiring some freelancer from India. They designed the app for me. It works actually perfectly fine, but I treated them just like a freelancer, right? They designed it, they left, and also with that old school mentality, I thought like we can design it like we used to do like old school, like you create a website, you put a phone number and email, you leave the website for 2-3 years before you update anything. Yep. But I was wrong. Technology changes like almost like every second, whatever. But so the app got created and it ran for like almost 6 months. It was a really good app too. It ran for 6 months and started having a bunch of glitch, problem with the code. And I tried to go back to find the same freelancer who designed it. Came to find that the guy I dealt with, he was a project manager who find jobs and then find developers. He tried to find the developer, he could not get them. Either maybe he didn't pay them enough money, they might not paid him, whatever reason. So we could not get the people that developed the app to fix it. So all this great shit was so much problem. So we end up trying to find other developers. They looked at the code. They say, oh, the code has so many bugs. We cannot fix it. So what happened is now we just decide to abandon the whole thing. But even at that time, I was trying to reach out to investors who are like, oh, this is good. Tell us more. Like, oh, do you have a CTO? Do you have a product manager? I'm like, whoa. They ask me all this. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't have. I'm the only one who owned the company. So from there, I learned that I need to kind of regroup or pivot in a way, right? And kind of that from there, I started recruiting a CTO, start recruiting team like system architecture, whatever. And from there, I learned even the CTO that I brought in, they looked at the code, they're like, whoa, this is too much mess. So we decided to leave that and then created a new company. But at the same time, actually, just for me to start learning exactly what's going on, I kind of registered driving for Uber and Lyft. And just to be like, hey, what are they doing good? What are they doing bad for learning purpose, right?
Yep.
But a learning purpose, I kind of end up kind of drifting in where at the same time it become like almost like a complaint where I would drive maybe 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and I look at my pay and I'm like, I did not make enough money at all. Like, right? If you calculate from the either food, gas for your car, the wear and tear of your car, your time, and you end up looking at like, wow, I'm driving 7 to 7 and I'm making like $9 an hour. If you look like, right, which is which is horrible. Like where you cannot really save any money for either, like let's say when I had the limousine where you can be like, hey, I can take a vacation with my family for a week or two. I can put my kid in college. But this was like, you can't take it even 1 week off because otherwise it's like, you will lose so much, whatever. Mm-hmm. So from there, learning, cursing one day, cursing on the side of the highway, I'm like, this is impossible. I can't believe this is how much I made. I think I bought like one of those like an electric toothbrush for like $80. And like one of those coconut water, like they come like in a box. Yeah. And I remember I had lunch and I put gas in my car and the money was run out. And I was left, I think, with like $15. And I was like, for the whole day? Like, and that really is really upsetting. But at the same time, I was learning the way is I had both Lyft and Uber, right? So as I was driving, so I keep switching back on and off, right? Because I want to stay busy and make enough money, right? Mm-hmm. So, but at the same time, I was getting penalized by the system. Like, why you keep turning on, turning off? Because they did not understand, hey, I turned both apps, the Lyft and the Uber, and whoever give me a job, I turn off the other one. So I do the job. As soon as I drop off, I turn on the other one again. So whoever give me the job first, right? Mm-hmm. So in order to just stay busy, right? Yep. But I was getting penalized. So with that, I was not making enough. So I tried to add other apps so I can be, if I have 2 apps now, maybe if I have 4 apps, it will keep me busy, right? So I registered for Grubhub. I got accepted, and I registered for Uber Eats. I got declined, and I'm like, why did I get declined if Uber Eats is owned by Uber and I drive for Uber, right? So I saw the disconnection there. I'm like, why would you decline me if you already, I already work for your other company? Mm-hmm. But anyway, from there, now I had 3 apps. I have Uber, Lyft, and I have Grubhub. So now I'm turning 3 apps. On and off. Yeah, exactly. On and off. And I did a couple of times where you accept the job and I forget to turn off the other one, and I'll be driving and they'll pop up. You have a job with this. I'm like, oh, I'm on another job. And then you gotta decline. And every time you decline, also you get penalized. Mm-hmm. So by the app that you're declining, right? So it's like they're almost kind of penalizing you and they push you to the bottom where you're not gonna be receiving more job quick. From there, it was just a headache, right? it's like turning off, turning off, turning off. So you're just a headache with all those apps. And I would, from there, also, I'm still putting my team together for this new Halen Super App. I realized, why not merge two services where you have food delivery and rideshare together, and the driver can decide whatever, they can decide if they want to do both. They just like assume they drop off person, they want to pick up food, they can pick up food. From there, learning slowly, this idea of a super app, I never heard of it, right? And in my head, I started realizing, like, trying to learn more, trying to kind of understand why, if you can combine this stuff, why hasn't this big company done it, like Uber or Lyft? And as I was learning, like, it became clear that whenever you design an app, you need to design a system architecture, right? Mm-hmm. The system architecture is like a house foundation, right? A house foundation, if you say, hey, I'm going to build a 4-bedroom house, right? You cannot turn around maybe a year later, you know what? I'm going to put a high rise on top of it, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. The foundation is not going to help, it's not going to support the high rise because it's only support a 4-bedroom house. So system architecture is the same. Like, these companies, they are big, they spend millions of dollars to build their system, but their system only support that foundation of a 1-bedroom, of a 4-bedroom house, not a high rise. Mm-hmm. So we came in with Uber. We came in with, like, when I was putting the team together, we came in with this idea of Halen. We start learning, like, oh, super app. They are very popular in other countries, like Asia market or Middle East or whatever.
So for the listeners listening in, can you just explain to me what is a super app? How would you describe a super app?
Without reading Wikipedia explanation, a super app is a one platform that allow customer or the public to access multiple services. So it is a one-stop shop app, mm-hmm. kind of like where you have a bunch of different apps. So it, like the way we have ours, the Helen we have 6 different services where we have rideshare, we have grocery delivery, we have restaurant delivery, we have retail delivery, then we have flight booking, and we have vacation rental. But some other super app, you can go with super app anything, like whatever you do. You can be like, hey, I want to have rideshare, I want to have grocery, I want to have banking, I want to have insurance, I want to have a barbershop, whatever. As long this system can accept multiple service to do multiple service in one app. Mm-hmm. So it helps consumer or customer not to end up, like, let's say, to use one app on all their daily use, right? Without them exposing their personal data or personal information, get tracked their movement of whatever their history with a bunch of different apps. You have one, the super app is one app. You enter your credit card information and your personal information on one app, where you don't have to download so many other apps where you have to enter your personal information again, put password, so now you have like multiple apps listening to your tracking, your whatever, right? Mm-hmm. The super app saves you with all that noise. It cut off all, it helps you. So it's like, I would say a super app is something that provide privacy and security. Maybe the simple way for me to say it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you've been developing this super app now, and I suppose you've had some learnings. You've already shared some of them from the original rideshare app. You've talked a little bit about people and making sure that you have the right people. That's one of the learnings that you had. Tell us a little bit about what you've learned and how you're dealing with that now.
Oh, this is fun. I thought I had a lot of the management skills, like when I had a limousine company. Mm-hmm. This is way totally different. Like, because when I had the limousine company, I had a small customer service, like 4 people, and we knew each other. They're like, kind of like, I knew their behavior and everything fine. It's like, they know it. They come in, they answer phone, they help driver. That's fine. And also for driver driver did not stay in the office. They came in, pick up their car, or some of them, they kept the car at home. They just deliver, they drive, whatever, and they will come back to the office maybe once a day or once every week, whatever. We're putting the team together to work on this, where you're communicating with people like every day, or just kind of just find, like, going to learning people, like, from the progress of the app, right? Like, hey, we're doing this. And also we have a lot of virtual meetings and all this. It's a lot of stuff that I end up learning, like human behavior, right?
Yeah.
It's almost, in a way, I don't know how to say this. It's like, because you're dealing with so many different multiple, like, personality, and each individual is motivated differently, right? With the new age now, people is like, they almost like, what do you say? People are not, long time ago, people used to look for job that is like, hey, I find a job. This is my job. This is my future. It's going to give me my future or whatever. People now is like, hey, no, it's about my feelings. How am I being treated, right?
Yeah.
So I don't care if they give me a bunch of money. It's about my feelings, right? So you're trying to find the balance between getting to know the person, trying to know the people, like, what are they motivated? Are they motivated by money? Are they motivated by the title? Are they motivated by both? Are they motivated by, they want to learn about something, about this project? Maybe it's because some of them, they just want to come learn, and then it become that stepping, kind of like something for them to push them to the next level, right? So, but also at the same time is like, you're trying to figure, it's like a very thin line where you like, I'm trying to get to know them, but am I violating their privacy? So it's a very delicate thing, kind of like trying to deal with people, or trying to learn, or like bringing people to your team.
Yeah. So how do you kind of look for that right person to join your team?
So now it becomes, you kind of look, I do a lot of dealing with people through LinkedIn, right? I hire through LinkedIn, or I deal with people from LinkedIn. So I talk to people, and there's some, you can never really get 100%, because sometimes you're looking for, I call like symptoms. You're looking for like, is this person going to be a good fit for my team? Do they communicate? Does it take them 6 days to respond? Does it take them 1 hour to respond? Does it, so things like that can be red flag. Like someone who, like, let's say you see them either on LinkedIn posting, because you're connecting, you see them like, hey, for the past 3 days, they have posted like 4 times, but they have not responded to my message on LinkedIn or my email. So you're like, that's a red flag, right? You're like, okay, this person is not probably the good fit. So with also the way things now, the way have been, is like a lot of the stuff are remote, right? Remotely, where people, you're working, either just they're working from home, and like people working from home, it become tricky also, because sometimes people might end up abusing the system, where they're like, they have your job, but also they are doing other jobs, either freelancing, or they are starting their own business. So really, is this person going to focus on your project, or are they going to be distracted doing some other stuff, right? So it's a very tricky way trying to find the right individual. But once in a while, you get like really dedicated. Like let's say you hire 5 people, right? Out of 5 people, probably you gotta get 2 that you got it like right, the right way, and the other 3 probably like, hey, I missed it. Then you gotta start over, kind of thing. So yeah.
Okay. I know that with your current sort of project, how many staff do you have in the current project at the moment?
So far I have 4 total, plus 12 developer overseas.
Right. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I know that you've been sort of trying to raise funds and things, and you've become quite good at raising funds from investors. Tell us a little about, what you've had to do to get that. And also you mentioned when we first spoke about those, you have a board of advisors as well. So tell me a little bit about both of those, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. So we start with the board of advisors. So board of advisor, it's a great idea to find board of advisor, right? But I also at the board of advisor, I did find board of advisor through LinkedIn, and then from LinkedIn, I was able to use some of the board of advisor to connect me with people that they know that can bring value to the company for advising stuff. So one of the tricky thing is when you post a job posting and you say you're looking for board of advisor, everyone love the title of board of advisor. They love it. Like everyone want to be called a board of advisor. There's some of them, they don't know what the entail being a board of advisor. They just want to have that board of advisor to either to something that can help them in their journey or whatever career, like they want to, is almost kind of goes like on their resume, right? Yeah. So if it goes in their resume, it looks good for them for whatever reason they are looking for. Either they are looking to apply for a bigger job or, and it's very strange too, because when you're looking for board of advisor, you can get someone who's well qualified. You're like, oh, this person is perfect. But what I would suggest for someone, if you're looking for board of advisor, you like, let's say because you have to look at each, like my startup when I was doing, I had to look for multiple positions. Like I had to look for franchise person, someone who knows franchise because our company is involved in franchise. I had to look for someone technology, AI. I had to look for someone finance. I had to look for someone human capital. So you look at these positions, like whenever you're looking at, like one of the things that you have to be very careful is the people, I call them title grabbers. Title grabbers are people like they apply for you, they want to be board of advisor, and you open their profile on LinkedIn and you see they have like 10, 12 jobs, and all jobs that current, like from 2022, from 2021, they are still working with the same company. And I'm like, you have 10, 12 jobs, like what are you doing at those jobs? So those are kind of people I stay away from, right? I trying to stay away from people like that, where they have so many jobs, this, and that, because that time, then I'm like, wow, this person is more like title grabbing person, just want to have their title kind of, anyway. And the other thing that helped me also looking for board of advisor, because I was on a fundraising mode, or we still fundraising, I was able to get board of advisor. I was like, hey, you want to be a board of advisor? We are fundraising. So for you to be a board of advisor, we need at least $2,500 to be an investor into the company. So you can be, so we know, like in a way, kind of like to validate the idea, right? To see someone, if you want to be a board of advisor for this company and you believe in this company, do you believe also with $2,500, right? Yep. Because sometimes people are like, no, I don't have the money now. It's like, oh, I cannot invest in this company, right? I'll be like, so why do you want to be a board of advisor in a company that you cannot invest in it, right? Yep. For someone who want to be a board of advisor, you have to make sure they understand the vision of your company. They understand the vision, what you're trying to really do, and really can be a good element for your company to give you really good advice, right? Yeah.
So you're looking for people on the board that can fill some of the skill gaps that you've got, to ensure that you've got a really rounded, diverse, board for making, I suppose, informed decisions. Yeah.
Exactly. These are the people that have extensive experience in their industry. They help you, I always say, block any blind spot. Like, let's say something like, I don't know much about maybe franchise. So I will find someone who knows about franchise, who's a board of advisors, knows about franchise. I look for someone who knows about HR, like human resources. So I find a board who's a human capital. And I go to another one, maybe marketing. I will find someone who has experience in marketing. So in a way, I mean, don't if you're looking for this board, don't really take the way I did, because I was in a fundraising mode. So I wanted to leverage that. Hey, if you want to be a board, you also has to invest. And also, if you look at it, there are some companies that help people to put on a board you become a board of a company, right?
Yeah.
But those companies, they charge you to become, so they can connect you. So, and I'm thinking, if they're going to charge you to connect you to be a board of a company, why not just pay the company directly as an investor? Also, you get equity out of it. So, but that's the way I did. But for someone else who's trying to put a board of advisor, look for, you don't have to get them to be an investor in a company. Just look for people who has experience, but also find people who are responsive. Like, you don't want to get a board of advisor just because they just want the title. You want to get someone who's going to be responsive. Like, if you send them an email or a text, you want to hear them at least maybe 12 hours at least minimum is good, because when you're a founder for a startup, you want quick response.
Yeah.
Like, because your head is bouncing all over the place, you want a quick so you need to find people that can respond really fast for you to move on to other thing, or to close whatever issue you have. That's what I would suggest, probably.
Cool. And so do you meet with your board of advisors as a team, or do you use them individually as and when needed, in terms of if you need some help with the franchise, you go directly to that advisor board member? Or how do you run your board of advisors?
Yes, so this is an individual. So like we have the meeting. We have the meeting every 2 months. We have a meeting all together with the progress report and everything, what's going on. But whenever I have problem, I deal with them individually. So I have a problem for franchise, I call the franchise board of advisors. I have a problem maybe hiring someone, or I need advice on hiring someone. I talk to the human resources. I have this question. I have maybe like I had an interview. It was an article that got published like last week. It was about super app and technology and AI. I had to use also my AI board of advisors to be also used as a court. So you use them individually. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about fundraising, because I know that I used to work with the Ice House, which is a big incubator over here in New Zealand, and we'd have people come in with ideas, and of course they all thought they could raise millions of dollars, and not every idea is a great idea, and sometimes you actually have to sanity check it and go, is this really, where's the market validation that shows it's a good idea? But even if it was a good idea, I know that fundraising is always top of mind, particularly when you're developing app software, that kind of product. So tell me a little bit about your fundraising efforts and what you've learned from that.
Yes. So fundraising is really weird thing. So it's one of those weird things, because you have people, you're always like looking for someone who's think like almost like outside the box, right? So for my startup, I'm more like I'm on the angel part, what do you call it? Angel investors stage.
Yes.
Like where I have spoken to venture capital, but I'm more of an angel investors kind of looking for.
If you think about the pathway, if just the people listening, the first thing is usually the 3 Fs: family, friends, and fools. The next thing is angel investors, and that's people who are actually putting in their own money, but they have an active interest in the business. And venture capitalists generally come later stage, when you've actually got a company that's up and running, that needs capital to take it to the next level. So so you're at the angel investor stage. I hear that. Yes,
good. So with angel investors, it's very weird now, because even them, I think a lot of the time, a lot of them, they kind of got pushed up into the cryptocurrency, right? So they jumped into cryptocurrency because this thing was everybody talking cryptocurrency, NFTs, and everybody kind of running over there, ICO, whatever. They got burned, right? So once they got burned, now they're coming back to normal fundraising, where people are doing like, technology company or this company. So now angel investor are acting very like weird, almost like a venture capital, like where they're asking too much questions, like where they're like, oh, do you have traction? Do you have, do you have this? Do you have revenue? Do you have, and you're like, whoa, angel investor, normally they will invest on an idea on a napkin. You explain to them what you're doing. So now it's like, so it become a little bit difficult now fundraising, but they're listening. And a lot of the time, sometime when you're pitching an angel investor or venture capital, they start looking at things like, oh, who's your competition? What is the market, right? How big is the market and all that stuff. And so for us, we're like, hey, the market is humongous, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we explain to them, they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. And then they go in the mode like, wait, if it's humongous, why this competitor that out there are not doing? Then you're trying to explain to them, because this thing that we're doing is so new for them. It's like we're creating a new space, but it's like for them to understand it. Few of them are understanding it, but for them, they're like, oh, wait, we want to wait for you to see like attraction a little bit. Once you finish the system, go into the market, then we want to hear. Plus, one other thing also we are running into, we had one investor like, do you have an office in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley? I'm like, no, we're DC based. And I'm like, oh, if you guys were in San Francisco, probably, I'm like, does it matter? A technology company does not have to be in San Francisco. It can start from anywhere. So few things that we are facing, we are right now, we're about to launch a tokenization, a security token offering, which is way better than the ICO, because the security token is more attached to the company equity. Mm-hmm. And we are launching that in next week by the October 1st. Yeah. So dealing with investor is, I would say, for now, I'm more focused on finishing the product. Yeah. So because for them, I wanted them, I have finished the MVP, but I want to finish the product by bootstrapping because of them. And of course, right now we're going through like recession or whatever you call this, kind of like going where everybody's very tight on money. So we're going to finish the full service where we'll have the rideshare, grocery delivery, retail, and and food delivery. Yep. So from there, I want to go back to them. I'm like, hey, guys, here's the system. It's developed. I have everything complete. And also, I'm going to be able to start onboarding drivers. And for them, I can show them too that I'm like, hey, this is the system done. And I have this much driver already registered, because to get driver is going to be very easy. So that's what I'm focused now. But I have learned a lot. And a lot of investors, almost all of them, they use the same script. Like as soon you get in there, they're like, do you have traction? Do you have this? So it's like all of them, they are reading the same script back and back. So it's probably, I would say, I have gotten warm introduction where someone introduced me to an investor, and the investor, they're like, oh, this is good. And actually that investor was very good, because they start putting themselves in the company. They're like, oh, we can do this. We can do this. Mm-hmm. When you hear an investor saying that, that means it's really good. So that investor was like, oh, this is good. We can do this. And also the franchise can do this. And they're like, yes, that's you right there. And then he was like, okay, listen, as soon as you guys launch, talk to me. We're like, no, we need the money now. But so now we raised so far about 200,000. Yep. And we have been awarded $1 million by a tech company. But when you get $1 million from a tech company, what they are trying to say is, if your system is going to cost $2 million, yep, you only give us $1 million. And the other $1 million, we're going to take in equity. So it's like you're trading equity for that $1 million, whatever. So we got awarded for that, which is big deal also. It's not handed to us, but it's big deal for the company itself to say, hey, we're going to take $1 million equity in exchange, right, for work. Yep. And also we have been awarded by Google for startup 100,000 K. Nice. So yeah, that's good. So that means they see the potential. So right now we're just kind of focusing to have this team kind of bootstrapping so we can finish and then kind of go back and then kind of hopefully launch the company and also start maybe reaching out to venture capital.
Sure. And I think if I heard you right, and I've seen this when I was working at the Ice House too. So when you're looking for investment, it's really important that you have done your homework, you've got your
Yeah.
numbers, you can show you've got some traction, even
Yeah.
if it's not, necessarily paying customers. You need to be able to show people are actually starting to take up your MVP and show that sort of growth for them, and just be really prepared to answer the questions, because they are starting to get tougher around what they will or won't invest in. So you need to have your your numbers and your story and your understanding of your environment really strong, so they know that you are serious about it. Yeah.
Yes. So the most important thing, so one of the thing I think sometimes we for my company itself, the way we hit some wall, because people they're looking at it like they're like, whoa, this is way too big, because they don't understand the concept much of a super app, because this is the first super app that they will be exposed to. So they don't understand. And even if you look at other companies, even when they started this competitor like Uber, Lyft, when they said, hey, we're going to have people ordering cars on the app, a lot of investors, they're like, yeah, that's a crazy idea. Or like Airbnb, they're like, hey, we're going to have people rent people's house. I'm like, whoa, stranger staying in people's house? That's, normally it's like, when you have guests coming into your house, the first thing you do, you go close your bedroom door, right?
Yeah.
Now you're going to rent the whole house. So like the thing sounded crazy because that was new to people. Now this super app is new. People, it scares them. They're like, whoa. So, but until we create that, you're right. You have to be ready. You have to have your pitch deck, your financial projection, your whole number. You have to have everything, like your to go to market and
competitive
everything.
Analysis, all that thing that's all there.
Exactly.
And I think that makes good business sense anyway for any startup to actually have that stuff there. The thing I learned too about investors from working at the Ice House was that they tend to like to invest close to where they live, which is part of that San Francisco story. It's like I found with the American investors particularly, they were very much more inclined to invest if that company was in the same state as they were in. And the same with New Zealand investors. So you've got to be very careful. It's like, you don't have to move to San Francisco, but there are certainly a lot more investors in San Francisco. Hey, I'm conscious of time. We've been talking for a while now. It's been really interesting, but we're running out of time. I'd love to just finish off with your 3 top tips that we could give to people listening into the podcast, and then finishing up with where they can get hold of you. So what would be your 3 top tips, would you say?
For you, this is for founders and startup and CEO, right?
Yeah.
The first thing is, probably if you have not heard of this, get some sleep.
Yes.
One of the things, you need to get your sleep, because I know sometimes sleep can be really like where you're working so hard on your idea and you're stressing yourself. So you feel like even you go to sleep and 3 a.m, you get up trying to work on the idea. No, so I would say get some sleep.
Yep.
Trying to exercise, and the exercise, I would say, even if walking for like 2 miles a day, and without headphone, without listening to anything. Don't listen to music. Don't listen to any podcast or whatever. Just let your mind wander.
Yeah,
I would say that would be the second one to do that, and then the third one, I would say, listen to podcasts like this, the business ideas. Listen to some other, about business. You can learn a lot of stuff from podcasts like this. And the other thing, like read some book, if you're able to read some book. I grabbed this book, if we can see it.
Yeah, Eric Rees, the Lean Startup, one of my favorites. Yep.
Yeah, and that.
Okay. How I Built This by Guy Raz. I've not seen that one, so that's But the Lean Startup's a fantastic book. I shall have to get hold of the other one. Yeah. Yes,
they are really good books. So I would say the first thing, sleep. Get some sleep. Trying to get 8 hours. I know it's not gonna be, but at least even if you don't get 8 hours, trying to sleep maybe 4 hours when you wake up, and then try to take a nap. As long as you're getting enough sleep.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, first of all, your brain needs to be in a space where it can actually deal with things, and when you're exhausted, it just can't work. And the exercise thing is also really important. I mean, that we call it a clarity break, is not having any distractions, going out there without the headphones, but just being out in nature, being out, taking a walk, having a bit of a clarity break to allow your brain time to rest, so that it can come back and serve you better, if you like.
And I would suggest the last thing is, if you have enough funding, travel. Just go somewhere, travel, be in a different city.
Mm-hmm.
That also helps you really to open up. So you'll like kind of, I don't know why, but it works for me. Like if I go somewhere, I'm like, wow. Yeah.
Environment. Love it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, so if people would like to find out more, Edward, how would they get hold of you?
I'm on LinkedIn. If you search for Edward Mbeche, or you can search Halen Super App. Halen is with the A, so
Halen. Yep,
Super App. And you should be able to find us and you'll be able to connect with us.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, look, thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us. Really appreciate it. Good luck with everything. I shall follow with interest, and we'll hopefully catch up in sort of 6 months' times and see where you're at.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deborah. Again, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, my absolute pleasure. Thank you.